Hey everybody, today I have a special guest for us, my friend x45x. We used to work together at a retro game store a few years back. These days, x45x is a Twitch streamer mostly focusing on teaching competitive Smash Bros. They are much better at Smash than I am. And speedruns, specifically speedrunning Mario Odyssey with an arcade stick. I'll leave a link to their Twitch stream in the comments below. We are both stuck inside a lot right now, like everybody else, so we thought now would be a good time to collab and do a general discussion video. How are you doing today, x45x?
Yo, I'm doing good, PapaGenos. How you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. Stuck inside, like I said, but otherwise hanging in there.
Yeah, and I guess looking at our notes here, a good first thing is what's been keeping you occupied during this time? Because I know we're going to get a bunch of Smash information and stuff, but like, what's been the vice when you're not working, when you're not making videos?
Sure, yeah, no, well, first off, yeah, I've been working a lot lately, which has been kind of strange. It's been weird. I'm working from home, but I feel like I've just been working like nonstop. Maybe working from home makes it feel like it's nonstop. I don't know, because you never like go to the office and then come home. But yeah, I've been doing a lot of that. But my vice, like the thing that's been keeping me, occupied in my free time, has been a lot of Animal Crossing. And I know I'm not the only person who's been playing a lot of Animal Crossing.
Yeah, no, Animal Crossing's definitely taken up a good amount of my time. I've when I'm not like forcing myself to deal with net play Smash, I'm usually either playing Animal Crossing, or recently I've just been on like a Halo kick, kind of bringing me back to like hanging out with friends in like high school and middle school and whatnot. Like missing, is bringing me back.
So now that we all have to social distance, it's like the couch co-op is the nostalgia for couch co-op is even stronger.
Oh, it's even stronger right now. It's terrible.
Yeah, no, so like I said, Animal Crossing has been my thing, but I've been doing like, I've visited other people's islands and stuff like that. I've had friends over to my island instead of having friends over the house. So it's like, it came out, I hate to say like perfect timing, but it's a good timing for this sort of game.
It's pretty perfect for Animal Crossing to come out during a pandemic. I think anyone who doesn't understand the appeal of Animal Crossing probably now understands the appeal of Animal Crossing.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, and other people's islands, dude. Like I'm always like, oh, I like the way my island looks, and then I see other people's islands. I'm like, damn, I got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, no, I haven't gotten terraforming yet. I haven't gotten KK Slider to like play the concert on my island yet to do that. But I've been playing slow. I kind of like the slow burn of Animal Crossing. I have been playing like, I think every single day. But it's nice. It's like you can't go to like the store every day, but I can check my Animal Crossing Island store every day. So it's a good fill-in.
No, it's a nice fill-in. And I know this is going to transition us into our next topic, but I figure I'd say I'm very sorry you haven't been able to get your ARMS video out.
No, I have not. Yeah, that's been something I've been trying to get done since the character came out, which was it the 26th? Or not the character came out. Since the character, since we got revealed that we're getting an ARMS character.
Yeah, that mini direct.
Yeah, the mini direct that got shadow dropped on us, so I wasn't exactly prepared for it. And then this week has just been crazy as far as my work goes. Like I said, I'm working from home, but I've had like more stuff to do this week. And I've been, so I told you about this, but I'll just say it. So I'm working from home, so I brought my work computer to my home, and it's now in the same place as like my computer I use for making videos and stuff like that. So I'm sitting at that computer for like 8 hours doing work, and then at the end of the day it's like, do I want to sit here longer and film and edit a video? And it's like, no, I'm gonna go in the other room or go take a walk or something. Like, so it's really weird, but it's I'm home more, but it's almost prevented me from doing videos, because instead of going out and doing a job and then coming back to like my house and being like, all right, time to do a video, because it feels like a break from what I was doing. It's like, oh man, doing a video feels like more of what I was just doing.
Yeah, no, and I totally get that, because I traditionally work from home, so I know that feeling, and you have to have spaces for everything, and it's difficult. But I guess that's the thing to talk about those ARMS. I guess some people can hear some of your speculation, but we've already briefly talked about this, about kind of what we think the moveset could be, our character choices that it might be for ARMS. I don't know, it's really interesting. Your choice is Min Min?
Yeah, I think Min Min is the most likely character for a multitude of reasons. We can get into that in a second here. But like you said, moveset-wise for an ARMS character, there's kind of two things. It's like, you know, which character we get obviously brings a whole unique moveset to the table, but just having an ARMS character, since they're going to have, you know, arms, they're going to have that, you know, general arms mechanic from the game and everything, that in and of itself brings a certain moveset, or we can speculate on that moveset just on that alone. Because whatever character we get, we know we're getting at least that happening with them, and I think that's going to be pretty unique.
Yeah, and my pick is Twintel because for a multitude of reasons, and the biggest one being that she actually has normal arms and arms. So you have both the benefit of being able to pick up items, maybe being able to do moves that maybe imagine like a throw where like Twintel throws you with her arms, and then her her hair arms, then punch you or something. That'd be like really cool.
Without being able to type like bold arms and then lowercase arms, it's so confusing. But
did you hear the bold in my voice there?
I did. I can see it. But yeah, no, I agree. Twintel's kind of she was my initial person that I actually gravitated towards, but she's now become my second place person for who I think is most likely. But I totally agree with you. I think from like a developer standpoint, like trying to think of how would you get an arms moveset to work. For instance, like you said, holding items or doing grabs. Like, is the person going to be able to grab across the stage? Are they going to have the item in their arms, and it's going to be like that arm is shot across the stage at this moment? Are they going to be able to like use the beam sword on the other side of the stage while some special is over there? I mean, maybe, yeah, exactly. Like maybe that's going to be like how it works. But I think Twintel actually has a good fix from like, again, a developer's standpoint, a good fix for how you can have an arms moveset, but also have the character grab normally, use items normally. Even a Kirby hat, I feel like with Twintel is easier because the hat would just be her hair, and then he can use whatever arms-based special, is the B move.
We don't have any like weird body disfiguring Kirby hats.
Right, yeah.
I want to be able to go to bed at some point after that character releases.
Yeah, I mean, not that they couldn't, just have Kirby gain whoever's arms it is, but yeah, I think Twintel is a good workaround for a lot of little things people might not be looking at so much. But again, my pick is actually Min Min.
And you were mentioning because of like she has like kicks and whatnot.
Yeah, she has kicks, which is if we're looking at moveset stuff, that's pretty more conducive to a Smash character to be able to have them kick and use, again, the arms. I do think if you're going to capture the arms feeling, no matter who the character is, it'll probably be like the special moves use the arms, and then the everything else will probably be, I imagine, not so much using the arms, because in arms you can shoot your arms across the stage, and then you can still move the character around and stuff. And I feel like that's probably still going to be the case here, being able to bend the arms after you use them, kind of, again, move the character around while the arms are being used, things like that. And I feel like, I don't know, in order to do that, you'd have to make the arms specifically special moves. That's just how I'm picturing it, I guess. I don't know, how are you kind of picturing how an arms character, whoever it is, how they'd have to function?
Yeah, I'm thinking a zoner, and I'm thinking a strange zoner, where like if their throw really does reach across the stage, can you do the thing you do in arms where you punch one of the arms out of the way?
Okay.
Can you whatnot? Like, are there different weapons on some of the moves, or are they just going to be more like Inkling, where they come out when appropriate, where like up smash is the blaster and down smash is bucket?
Right. Is that going to switch your arms?
Yeah, exactly. Or it could be like a 11 sword mechanic where a tilt would change the weapon and a smash would change the weapon. So if you do an attack with a weapon equipped from a different move, does it change the property? There's a lot of cool stuff like that, but I guess the biggest overall concept that I'm interested in, and this is again mostly because I play a lot of competitive Smash and I teach it, is arms punches either range from pretty quick to relatively slow. And there's things like the boomerang and whatnot that are, I think it's the boomerang, that arc and take a moment before they make it to the target. And I'm actually going to have you have a clip here. One of my favorite archetypes in fighting games is the slow projectile. I don't like Street Fighter V particularly, but I think Ed is a really cool character, and his V-Trigger one is he throws this big purple spinning ball, and like it hits I think 5 or 6 times, and it moves unbelievably slow, but it's gonna travel across the whole screen. And
right.
Ed's a boxer, and he's gonna get in close, and then you're like, oh dear, what's going to happen to me? Like, am I going to get thrown? Am I going to have to deal with the ball hitting me? And the answer is yes, all of the above. But when I think about an arms character, I don't want them standing still. Just like in the game, they can move. And let's say you had like Twin Tails float, right? Let's say you had a move where you punch with one arm and you can float and you still have access to your other arm, which maybe means normals while you're using a special or something like that. So let's say you had like a boomerang arm. Imagine this slow moving projectile coming in and you have to deal with that. But much like a boomerang from like Link or something, they can move while that's out. And so I could see someone like Twin Tail floating on you, manipulating this slow moving arm, and then uses a quicker one to punch you out of the air or something. And then you get hit by the boomerang, and then there's like a follow up. And that would be like super cool. Also, I just had this like moment of, there's something called the Z-axis in Smash. Like, it's a 2D platform fighter, but it exists in 3D space, and sometimes you don't get hit because a sword didn't hit you on the Z-axis, on that like 3D space that's not being used. Like, you can't walk into the foreground or background, but moves can go into the foreground or background.
Right.
Can you imagine if the boomerang leaves the foreground? Or
like kind of like,
because you have curved punches,
right?
Like,
so like it
goes
curves
off screen and
it curves like into the background or towards the camera or something like that. That'd be interesting. I think you explained that better than I was trying to. But that idea that in arms, when you attack, you can still move the character, or the arm is slow and sometimes it's arcing and changing direction, kind of like maybe Pit's arrows or Dark Pit's arrows, having that curvature to them. Or being able to kind of manipulate that. I feel like that has to be part of the arms character. Again, I have a bunch of reasons why I think Min Min works really well, but one of them is she has kicks. You'd be able to do the normals while you're special, which is your arms. Yeah, you'd be able to kick while the arm's out there. Because obviously we have characters like Little Mac who only punch. He doesn't have any kicks or anything. So I'm not saying like a Smash character has to have kicks. I'm just trying to think of how do you take an arms character, make them feel like you're playing arms, but also make them work in Smash. And I feel like you have to have that ability to move the character, do things with the character while the arms are out there doing things. And certain arms characters work better for that than others.
Yeah, exactly. And one other thing is competitively, we don't normally go to 2D stages. And the 2D stage, and sometimes they're really unique in that, like, Duck Hunt is a 2D stage, but if you go to the Omega or Battlefield versions and you rotate the camera, it's no longer 2D.
Right.
The characters aren't flat against it. So remember that whole Z-axis thing? The only problem is if you have a 2D stage like Flat Zone and you throw the boomerang, it becomes active. It's active frames. Like, if that move is actually active while it's swinging outwards into the Z-axis, like off, like, towards or away.
Right, it's gonna have some weird like.
It's just gonna be existing on the same plane, and you can get around that by coding it to be partially intangible or something like that. But that's gonna be where I'm like, oh, would they really do that with the 2D stages? But maybe Sakurai and his ability to be a little chaotic with development, I think, would totally do that.
Yeah, I agree. If they do something where the arms are somehow springing into the background or into the foreground, but then you have stages where, like you said, that Z-axis doesn't even exist. You could code it where that hurt box is just not there when it's not supposed to be there. But visually, it's going to look really strange when you're just like walking through the arm. That's it's
kind of feel weird.
Yeah,
without having that background to make it exist.
If they do that with them, obviously. But again, I do think there needs to be something, especially because there's two arms. They're both going to be kind of, I imagine, being able to be used simultaneously or something. I think it's going to be a little different than, say, like Simon Belmont throwing out the whip and then the whip returns to him and then you continue forward. I feel like to capture arms, it's going to be a little different than that. Even though I think I've studied the Springman assist trophy, and he's basically just throws out the attack, wait for the arm to come back. So it could just be a character with a lot of lag time on their attacks, but I feel like to really capture arms, it's going to be something a little different, where you have more mobility, and when the arm is actually recoiling back to the character, there's going to be things you can do during that time frame.
And before we move to our next topic, I want to know, I know one of you, many of you, probably just heard all of that and went, I don't want to deal with another zoner. And I want to get you guys a little advice. The more zoners there are, you have to learn how to deal with their pressure and deal with their campiness and all of that stuff. But once you do that, they have to play differently. And I'm telling you right now, when a zoner player has to play, more offensively and a little bit crazier because everyone knows how to deal with the defensive playstyle, things get really nuts. So having another zoner isn't bad, knowing just how much metagame develops, and as players as lower and mid-level players get better at the zoner matchups, they're going to start seeing just how much people change to deal with it. And I think an arms character in that world of dealing with zoners would be really fun. A character that can move around while throwing projectiles is going to want to actively move from very aggressive spacing to defensive spacing. I think it's just going to make for a lot of cool interactions. And I think, especially when we get to poor Prince, for those of you who don't know, Prince is a Smash 64 legend. Does some of those crazy combos you've probably seen clips of before. He loves doing item combos. And if arms characters can really move and throw out limbs and stuff, I'm so excited to see what he comes up with for comboing people off of bumpers and spike balls and throwing arms that can be moved independently. And crazy.
If the character has just a lot of free range control, it's going to be really interesting for a zoner character. Again, it is possible they just end up being a character with a lot of reach, but I feel like there's going to be different arms, probably projectiles involved in some way. Min Min has her dragon arm that she sometimes transforms her left arm into.
Be bringing everyone,
or that,
and we're all wrong, and we're gonna get 12 characters.
It's totally possible we get I would love to see this bring in echo fighters. Hey, here's the character, and also there's an echo, and it's oh, by the way, we're gonna do echoes this pass. That would be great, in my opinion.
That would be really cool, and I guess that moves us into. Are there any other first party or? Oh, sorry.
Can I say one more thing?
Please.
Or two more things actually. I guess just so we were talking about moveset potential and stuff. I will say I have other reasons for thinking Min Min is the most likely. It's not just because she kicks. That's just one of many reasons. That's her moveset reason, and then. The other thing I wanted to say before we jump off of this is if you think, I think we had mentioned this, I think when me and you were just talking maybe last week, but if how in Smash 4 you could set up different moves with the characters, you'd set up different specials and they kind of got rid of that and everything. Palutena, I know, had a bunch of them. What if the arms character, since you can switch your arms for a match, what if that was their thing? That was their unique thing.
Oh, right. You even Pokemon Trainer, where you can select which one you want to start with on the character select screen.
What if it just has that, where there's just there's a couple arms on the character?
Arms you can select between. Oh. And then the dragon arm would make a lot of sense because it's one of the few signature ones.
Yeah, and I think the dragon arm actually, I think she gets it in the match, it transforms. If I remember playing as Min Min. I have not played ARMS in quite a while, and I think Min Min I only played a couple times way back when.
Yeah, no, I sadly haven't been able to play ARMS. And recently people have been like, oh, do you want to play? It's free right now. And I was like, I really should, and I didn't find the time, and I feel really bad.
Yeah, no, I know we're over here speculating ARMS, but I don't own the game. I always only played it over friends' houses, and with the way things are right now, I have not been able to go over friends' houses and play ARMS. So, I could have downloaded the free one or whatever, but I just haven't done it.
Yeah, and that's fair. Are we good to move on to?
Yes. Yeah. Let's go to the next topic.
Yeah. So, are there any other first and third party characters that we think might be coming? And one of the things we brought up in our little pre-conversation was, when the character process happens, Sakurai seems to think more than just a character, but kind of the world and universe they bring to the table. Mm-hmm. Because you think about Dragon Quest, and there's all these different songs and all these different characters from beloved different versions of the game.
Right.
SNK, I mean, Terry being in the game is an SNK love letter with its... How many songs?
I don't remember. I know it was a lot. It was a crazy amount for DLC, and then also to have tons of SNK characters in the background of the stage and stuff. It does really feel that Sakurai thinks about when he brings in a character, bringing in that whole entire universe with that character. So I was thinking any first or third, and I know my answer, but any first or third party characters that you think would really bring something special, not just with themselves, but bringing the worlds that they bring in. Stage, music, etc. Yeah, so, I mean, the last two characters we just got were Byleth and now an ARMS character, even though we don't know who it is. But those are two games that, like you're saying, they bring in a bunch of music, they bring in a whole new world and everything with that character. As far as first-party characters go, because those are both first-party characters, I think it would be a little tough to find many more first-party characters that have the ability to do that, bring in a whole new game series, basically, or a whole new, like, universe, because obviously Fire Emblem is very different every time. It brings in tons of characters and stuff. So, I mean, I can think of, like Rex from Xenoblade 2, because, like, that's a whole new, that would be a whole new kind of world. It's very different than, like, Shulk's game. But there's few and far between, because when I think of other first-party characters, a lot of times it's like, well, it's another character from this series, and not necessarily bringing in a whole world. Maybe somebody from Breath of the Wild 2, potentially, whatever that game ends up being, because, that's a whole... we have, like, that one stage already, but I just imagine each Zelda iteration's a little different and stuff like that. But as far as first party goes, it's tougher. I was mentioning how if an ARMS character came with an Echo, that'd be a great way to continue Echoes going forward. So I'd love to see, like, Impa or Dixie, especially if, like, spirits don't deconfirm, we can start having that as, like, Echo fighters, and then maybe the actual character that we're getting, not the Echoes that they're adding. And obviously the Echo doesn't have to be an Echo of the character that we're getting, it just has to be an Echo fighter or something, kind of the same way they sell Mii costumes. And then the actual character we're getting could be, like, third party or from an unrepresented world, like Rex, something like that. But you'd still be able to get some of those other old Nintendo characters, like Dixie Kong or something like that, in the game without having to be like, okay, she comes with a Donkey Kong stage and Donkey Kong music, and something that we already have a ton of in the game.
No, and that makes like complete sense. I can't think of a first party character, which is why I mentioned third party characters, because I had one that really sang to me. So one popular character that a lot of you have talked about probably before is Master Chief. Like, could Master Chief in Halo really exist in Smash? And I used to be one of those people who said no, and now as I've gotten older, I'm going, yeah, wait, hold on. Like, they made Snake work. Like, wait.
It's bizarre that these... It's bizarre that these, like, pipe dream characters... I mean, years ago, if you told me, like, Cloud was going to be in Smash, Ryu was going to be in Smash... Yeah, even Banjo-Kazooie, I would have been like, yeah, it's probably never going to happen. It would be cool, but probably never going to happen. And now it's like, we got so much cool stuff.
What a fool we were, huh?
Exactly, yeah.
What fools we were.
So now when you pull out somebody like Master Chief, where it's like, that's never going to happen. I'm now sitting here like, yeah, Master Chief might be one of the last characters here. Like, it might happen.
And on that note, I said, okay, yeah, but what would you bring for a stage or a cool gimmick, or, like, how would you make him special? And then it occurred to me, like, we can talk moveset of what weapons he might have, or punches or kicks, or, like, equipment, because, there's lots of that in game. I thought to myself, what would the stage be? And, like, the first thing I thought of was Halo 5's Truth, but, like, any kind of Covenant ship, like midship, or anywhere where you have Covenant and Covenant structures existing. Mm-hmm. You could even go for something classic, like anywhere Blood Gulch, High Ground, those canyon areas. But having a stage that's Covenant would allow the Covenant to be there. It would allow the UNSC, like the humans, to be there. There's a lot that you could do with that, but my brain finally clicked. Can you imagine, and I know I already told you this before, can you imagine having one of the Halo announcers, either whether it's like one of the older ones or like it's the Halo 5 one, announcing awards in the match, like double kill and things like when you get a laser, or if you get a sticky or something, even lines that aren't in Halo, when someone's on a killing spree or a running riot, etc. And the... And even having, like, special recorded lines for certain characters. Like, just having something for, like, when you get dunked, like, having him say, like, Meteor Smash or something. Like, having that wonderful, wonderful voice saying something like that as the match is being played with, like, little award emblems popping up would capture that multiplayer spirit of Halo, while you have the single-player world building as the stages, and you could have a ton of music. Can you imagine a semi-symphony, semi-electronica remix of any of those wonderful Halo themes? Would be really exciting, and I just went, oh, you know what? They kind of can make that work, can't they?
the Halo music, is really great. Whatever stage they get, I'm sure would be, awesome. But I love your idea for having, like, the announcer on the stage. It would make the stage so unique. It would make it really feel like playing, couch co-op Halo. Getting little awards, like, popping up or something like that. Like, that'd be great.
Like From the Grave, and, like, there's just so many that can pop up that would make people pop off. Like USD with Ganon. and you know, or like you SD with Bowser, and it's a character that can't recover very well, and you know you go down, but then they lose their last stock, and you don't even hear game, you might hear game, but then you hear right afterwards from the grave. And like I'm just like, oh, how cool would that be?
That would be so sick. That would be awesome.
That was what popped in my head. But I was gonna ask comment section. I really want to know, what would you guys think fits that like world and like aesthetic of Smash? Like what game, third party or first party, could really bring something to Smash that's not there yet? Because once that idea popped in my head, I wanted to know what other ideas could be out there. So let us know.
So I sort of just spoke like in general about first party, third party characters, you know, whatever, echoes and stuff like that. But as far as like you're talking about, I'll just get specific with just where your thoughts brought my mind. So we have Banjo in Smash. So we do have Microsoft like on board with Smash, which is crazy. So Master Chief is completely, you know, a possible character. Getting Halo in Smash is a total possibility here. But another big franchise that, you know, Microsoft has is Minecraft. And while I'm not a big fan of like Steve as a character, just because of the blockiness and stuff, and I don't know who else he'd possibly do. But the Minecraft world, Minecraft as a stage, I could see doing so many cool things with that.
Destroyable blocks with physics, like the physics in game, like sand will go down a layer, and
yeah,
like,
all the stuff with the different blocks and different types of material, and then like. You know how the Mario Maker stage is like different every time? I mean, you could do randomly generated Minecraft stage every time or something. Like, there's so many cool things you could do with that. So like, it's a tough thing to really want a world in Smash and not so much be like, I don't know if a character would work though. So I would love if there's like an exception where we just get a stage just as an exception. If we got like Master Chief and Halo, and then also like as a bonus a Minecraft stage, that would be like probably my dream Microsoft bundle to come into Smash
of stuff for reference.
Yeah.
Oh man, I want to see a stage get flooded. I want to see that blocky water just come and sweep me away.
Or oh man, what if it's like you the further down you dig, and then you just like you hit the nether eventually or something like that, and that's like. It drops down or something. I don't know, like something cool, where there's just like lava.
A stage where you're always going down, and and you can't die till you hit like the nether or whatnot.
Yeah, somehow I don't know how you do it where like you wouldn't be able to fall off like the sides of the screen or the top of the screen somehow. Maybe you're like stuck inside somehow, but then like you're just digging down. The whole like the stage itself is about digging, like doing damage to the stage until it's down to the bottom or something. There's a lot of interesting things you could do with Minecraft physics.
I don't think you ever played with Farrell and I, Jesse, for those of you who saw the last video you did. He had this brilliant stage that was just a box in Brawl. You spawned in it, and you stayed there. And basically, you waited till you were clipped out of bounds to lose. It was very fun. It was very silly. Not very competitive. It was just a blast.
Yeah.
But, like, the idea of having a stage where you might be able to die off the top, but, like, you can't really die off the sides. You're just trying to dig.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of... I absolutely hate, was it Great Cave Offensive? Is that the stage, right? The Kirby one?
Yeah.
I don't like that stage, but that is kind of what I'm picturing as a Minecraft-style stage, something like that, but with more
if there's
interesting...
an end to it.
If there's an end to it, if it's like, if the whole bottom is like all lava and death or something, and then like... and again, randomly generated what the stage comes out as, which it could be really cool.
PapaGeno, what if you like collect certain ores and that like gives you armor or a weapon or an item based on the material you grab? So like if you have a gold one, it's brittle and it'll break quickly. Iron's like kind of good and tried and true. Diamond would be like really deadly but really rare. And like
That's
if you
cool.
break that's so cool.
There's definitely a moveset potential for a Minecraft character too, based on like what you're kind of talking about. I do think there's like something really interesting with going through materials, crafting something. Like I think there's a cool thing you could do there. My biggest issue is just I don't know about literally the way like basically Steve would have to move around. That's kind of what gets me the most on it, is just I don't understand. I can't picture that character moving around in Smash and looking like, okay, maybe as like a Mii costume, maybe as an assist trophy. It's really hard for me to picture that as a playable character, even though I think the moveset potential is definitely there.
I hope whenever he runs, your field of vision of the stage gets slightly warped.
That would be cool. That'd be a nice touch, though a really annoying touch for everybody else playing.
And then another character that's going to transition us into another topic we're going to talk about today
Sure.
is, do we think we're getting a Sword and Shield Pokemon character? And if we do, what are our bets?
Sure, yeah, I mean, we kind of just went off on worlds and stuff like that. But so our last two characters were Byleth and now an Arms Fighter, so first party. And we were talking before, I know, before we came up with these topics about do we think more first party characters are coming? And I think one that we both agreed on was a Pokemon Sword and Shield character seems pretty likely. So yeah, I do think one is probably going to be part of this pass.
Yeah, me too. And I think Sword and Shield is just, there's no Sword and Shield music, stage, or anything. And I think
this is the first Smash game where we haven't gotten a new Pokemon stage in the game. So it really feels like we should get one before Ultimate's done.
Yeah,
and
no Alolan
stage.
Like,
right.
That's the weirdest thing to me, is that you would put Incineroar in the game, who is not only competitively popular in Pokemon, but is definitely a face of that region, definitely a face of a memorable, very memorable Pokemon. We talk about how certain starters are memorable forever, Charmander, Charizard, the originals, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Greninja's incredibly popular.
Right.
But I feel like Incineroar is on that level of recognizability, and it's just so weird that Sun and Moon was the game they didn't put a stage in. So I would expect one, but what? Now I know the answer, but are you gonna tell the viewers what Pokemon you think would rep?
Sure. Yeah. So I do think a Sword and Shield Pokemon is very likely. I do think getting a Sword and Shield stage, Sword and Shield music, stuff like that, I think it's something they'll probably do, especially with the DLC coming for Sword and Shield. It's not like the game is now passed and done. I think it's something Nintendo wants to keep in everyone's minds. I imagine Game Freak probably. As they're pretty close with the Smash team, it seems, as there's so much Pokemon stuff in Smash, they'd probably be asking Sakurai, hey, can we get a Pokemon character for this in and stuff. But the character I think is probably the most likely, and there's 4 characters I could say I think are pretty likely, but the one that my bet's on is Rillaboom, the fully evolved grass starter from Sword and Shield.
And my pick is Cinderace, the fully evolved fire starter for Scorbunny. And okay, why do you think Rillaboom? Because this still escapes me a little bit, and I didn't dive in too far when we were talking before. I want to know.
Yeah. So I have a couple reasons why I think it's Rillaboom. So I have some other characters that are in my mind too. Some of the other ones would be Toxtricity. I just think he's really popular. I think he'd be really cool to get in Smash. Mm-hmm. So he might be the one, if I had to choose, I might choose him. And then, who was the new mythic that we just saw? Zarude. I think that's a possibility too. Urshifu, I think, is the one that is kind of seems to be the face of the DLC. You get... is it Cubfu, I think, is his name, the unevolved form, and you're going to train that up. So those are all possible, but Rillaboom is the one that sticks out to me, and it's probably just my own bias on it's such a fan rule thing, but I really do like this. We have Greninja, we have Incineroar, let's get Rillaboom, and then we have 3 fully evolved starters of 3 different types from 3 of the newer games. It just feels like this pattern that okay, let's finish it off here. But then another reason I think Rillaboom makes a lot of sense is moveset potential, because he is, kind of music themed and everything. And I know in Smash 4 there was a lot of talk of potentially getting a Rhythm Heaven rep, and it seems like that may have almost happened. There's a lot of things pointing to that. I think in Smash Run, I think Rhythm Heaven's the only game series that has, I think, enemies in there that doesn't have a playable character. We had the Gamatsu leak during Smash 4 that had a Rhythm Heaven rep on it, and that leak came almost fully to pass. I think now that Chrom's in the game, it's everybody's in there except for a Rhythm Heaven rep. So I feel like Rillaboom could do whatever rhythm, music-based moveset maybe Sakurai had in mind. They could maybe give that to Rillaboom, and we'd finally get to see what that was going to be. I have no idea, what that could have been, but Sakurai has some crazy moveset ideas, obviously, all the time. So, I think Rillaboom could do something like that. It might be really interesting.
Also, you just made me note, first-party characters, a Rhythm Heaven rep is incredibly likely, isn't it?
Yeah, that could happen. I mean, I don't know if... are there any... I don't think there's any, Rhythm Heaven games on Switch yet. I don't think there's any... I haven't heard any
Most
rumors
recent
about
was
them.
the new 3DS one. I don't know if it was new 3DS exclusive, but it was Rhythm Heaven Fever Plus.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, my only knock against getting a Rhythm Heaven rep would be, where that series is right now. Like, is a new game going to come out? But I feel like, one totally could. And yeah, I mean,
there's no way they're not making a Rhythm Heaven for Switch, because it was originally a Game Boy game. It was originally
so it's
portable, and it almost makes sense that, like, come home and
it'd be a handheld. Yeah, go back to the handheld stuff.
Also, like, multiplayer Joy-Cons, the game's always revolved around one or two buttons. Like, it's
yeah, with the way the Joy-Cons also have their, like, their rumble features and stuff, which are really, unique and everything. They could probably do some interesting stuff with, like, time it to when the Joy-Con, like, does this or something.
Cadence of Hyrule has a vibrate feature where it does a really delicate vibrate while you play to the beat, in case you struggle to keep track of the beat. And that beat and that vibrate's really delicate, and it's really on point. Like, it's really accurate.
Cool. So, yeah, they could do something like that with it. It might be
there's
really
a lot
interesting.
Of potential.
Yeah,
but my Pokemon. Oh, sorry.
Oh no. So yeah, no, I agree. Rhythm Heaven could definitely get. That's something I haven't really been thinking about at all. But yeah, maybe that will happen at the end here. All right. So what's your Pokemon?
So it's Cinderace.
Oh, you already said it. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. But I just okay. So hear me out. Big fighting game trope is the Reflect. I'm going to put in. I'll probably send you a clip of Reflects going off right here. There. Now you have to edit something. Congratulations. This is what Prince Buffoon. This is what Buffoonish had to go through every time we said something.
Mention something, you just be like, oh yeah. You mean like when we were doing? When we were doing. We used to do. I don't even know what to call it. It was a YouTube channel with
Let's Play channel.
Let's Play channel. There we go. Let's Play channel with me, x45x, and our buddy Prince Buffoon while we were all working at that retro game store.
Actually, Buffoonish now.
Buffoonish, is that what he calls it? Buffoonish.
Yeah, changing a little handle change, so yeah.
Okay, there you go. I mean, yeah, still got the buffoon in there, so not too confusing. But anyway, we used to do this YouTube channel together, so yeah, but Prince Buffoonish was the one who did all the editing, so we would always just be like, oh man, do this. Oh, you gotta do this now. Oh, you gotta do this. And you just sit there like,
put
great.
A picture of me here, but make me crying? Yeah, no, it was pretty good. So there's the, we'll have it back on screen now. This is the Reflect. I'm talking about like reflects in fighting games, like where you kick a projectile back. You don't necessarily have to be the projectile user. It's more that like you can reflect them back. And Cinderace has the special where you oh my god, how do I forget the name of this move, because it's my favorite move in Pokemon right now. But where he hacky sacks the ball. He juggles it, and then he does this crazy-looking jumping roundhouse soccer ball slam, and this ball of fire hits the opponent, and it's a great move. It's a dope animation. If you haven't seen that animation, you know what? I have a video clip of it. You're putting it in too, and I'm done making you do stuff.
Great.
But I own that video file. That's why. But the point is that like. I think something where lots of kicks, lots of like the ability to have a projectile that you can set on fire and fire back at the opponent, but also have the ability to like reflect projectiles and like deflect attacks with a kick, and then have like a riposte or whatnot, like just some kind of like you can fire back a projectile or something, would be really fun. But also I love everything to do with Smash and characters that pull an item and then combo with the item. Like when Peach turnip combos or Rob top combos or banana combos, like that stuff looks really cool, and it'd be really dope for Cinderace to throw out a rock and then start kicking it into you, and maybe it like increases damage, and do like a whole combo involving kicking and comboing off of a rock. Just sounds really fun to me. And like imagine someone firing a projectile, like Ryu throws a Hadouken and Cinderace gets a reflect on it and then like starts a combo from it. Would be like really, really cool.
I love the idea. I really hadn't thought about like kicking the opponent's projectiles back at them and then they're like on fire. Like that's really cool, actually, now that you described that. And I will say, like I chose Scorbunny in Sword and Shield, so like that was the my favorite of the starter Pokemon. I just felt like Rillaboom seems like the more likely character, but if we got a Cinderace and they had a moveset similar to what you're saying, that sounds really cool to me. I like that.
But then I'd feel bad because like I know again fan rules, but like we also would be missing our grass evolution starter.
We would have technically Charizard because that's the final evolution starter. that Pokemon Trainer brings, Incineroar, and then we'd have Cinderace. We'd have 3 fire ones too.
And like, there's no Sceptile, there's no Decidueye, there's no oh help, X and Y.
Chestnut. Yep.
Oh my god, I was like, excuse me, that was my Pokemon. There's too many of them now.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, no, I want that. Oh man, why'd you have to say that? But speaking of Pokemon,
hold on real quick. I also really like Rillaboom's. No, it's all good. I also really like Rillaboom's. What is it? Gigantamax form. Looks really cool with like the multi arms and the huge, like, that would make such a good Final Smash. So I'll just throw that in there. I thought he has the coolest Final Smash potential.
I just want to kick a giant soccer ball at someone's face, which you can do in Smash. Just kick the soccer ball.
Yeah, they have the soccer ball, and it kind of is. Yeah, I could see the soccer ball's like physics working really well to just like give that to Cinderace. Like if he just has that,
that'd be fun.
Move, though that'd be a little broken because I know the soccer ball's.
But moving a little bit away from Smash, though, we were going to talk a bit about Pokemon DLC and what we think about it. And in all capital letters, I have in our notes, thank God it's not another game. And I guess I will start this one off with.
Sure, yeah, go for it.
I have a lot of people who are like, I liked having the extra game, or I liked having another Pokemon game to have once a year. First of all, that's not very sustainable. If we see another Pokemon game at the start of next year, I will be shook, because that's a lot of dev time.
I want them to slow down, definitely. Like, slow down and make more fleshed out games. And I feel like Sword and Shield getting DLC is a good start to that philosophy of like, let's make Sword and Shield really good instead of let's just pump out games every year, and if they're broken, well, hopefully the next game's better. I think this is the better way to do it.
Yeah, exactly. For balancing reasons, optimization reasons, etc. I think transferring everything. I know it was a little painful for some people not having every Pokemon, etc. But like transferring everything over to a new generation with new graphics and having Pokemon Home, like a whole new system for keeping all the Pokemon together and whatnot. Like, it makes sense. That it's like gonna be it's gonna take a bit, but yeah, slowing down the game production. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if we got like another Let's Go or a remake or something that a second team has been working on this whole time.
Pokemon Snap 2.
Oh, give me Snap 2. I'll do, or Pinball 3. Listen,
Pinball. That'd be cool.
HD Pinball. But I really think like I was sick of buying another $40 game every year to get either an enhanced story or like a new version or something. And this game is $60, and like, well, yes, some of us are the kinds of people that buy both Sword and Shield and will spend $120 on that easily. It's not great to me whenever I was like, yeah, but do I really want to put in the work right now when I know there's another game coming around the corner that we're all going to move to? And I think the DLC is the way to do that. It's in 2 parts. It's $30 for 2 different DLCs,
and they look pretty big. Like, the DLC looks pretty big, pretty good. And one thing I didn't like about having the third game, the Crystal or the Emerald or whatever. Like, I love those games. Don't get me wrong. They were always great. They were always updated, better versions of the main games. But it was like I had to replay the game again to see the differences, and a lot of times those differences were like post-game, end-game stuff. So I'd rather at this, stage of, I don't know, just gaming, just do DLC. And I think that's the right way to do it. I've already played through, Sword and Shield. Like, I just want to do more after that. I don't want to have to replay all that, see some minor differences to get to, the new stuff. So I think this is definitely the better and more modern option, is to do DLC. So
yeah, and I also think, I know there are a lot of people who are anti-DLC. Bushondo, I know you're going to listen to this. Shoutouts to Bushondo64 on Twitch, but I'm blowing you up. I know some people that are very I don't like DLC, and the problem is, as much as you don't want to like it, there's a difference between, EA scummy DLC. There's, that stuff sucks, and I get it, but then there's, DLC that makes games legitimately better. That hey, you have this wonderful game and you like it a lot and it's been fun, and then a couple months later there's an expansion that just gives you even more of what you were looking for. I think Smash is a good example, but I want to kind of not just use Smash as an example. I think something like Mario Golf on the 3DS was a $30 game, not $40. And it had this DLC for $15, which only made it $45 grand total. and it came with like 4 or 6 18 whole courses. It was insane. It was so much content, and I already liked the game because it went back to that RPG style Game Boy Advance single player.
Nice,
and then
nice. I didn't play it, so
it was Golden Sun Engine. It was literally Golden Sun Golf.
Very cool.
Go and check that out. You're gonna be like, what? It's so unique. But but then it had the single player stuff, and it had like all these extra courses, and I just remember being like, that made the game legitimately better. Expansion packs, especially in the old days, like StarCraft was great. Brood War was like, whoa, like it changed everything, and it was so nice. And I think there's nothing wrong with that as long as the DLC to me is worth it. It feels like it's a meaningful amount of content for the money. It doesn't feel like it's just cut content. And sometimes when it's cut content, last comment, I know you want to say something. I know sometimes it's like, oh, it's just cut content if they had just waited to develop the game. And sometimes that's not the best play for a company with a whole team of workers. Because, like, minus money concerns, because I don't think Pokemon has to worry about money. Like, those are humans working hours at, like, a location, now currently from home probably, but, like, they're spending 8 to 12 hours a day, because Japanese workforce will do stuff like that, to work on a game. And when they're like, we can release a very finished game now, or we can wait do this kind of work for half a year more or a year more to put all this content in the game, not only does it cost something, but there's no break for the programmers.
Yeah, so, I think a lot of times people don't think too much about the people who actually have to, make these games, especially if they're churning them out like all the time. Like, it's definitely it's a tough job. But yeah, I agree with pretty much everything that you said. I have a bit of a love-hate with DLC. I think sometimes DLC can be a scummy practice where, like you said, it's cut content and stuff. I will have to mention, I'm not going to harp on it because it's been harped on 17 trillion times, but not having the full Pokedex is definitely something people have complained about. But we're actually, like, even if you don't pay for the DLC, you're still going to get the Pokemon that they're returning. Like, that's a free update still. So, that's not that bad, all things considered. And I'd rather them flourish, flush out this game, make this experience as best as they can in the end. So, like, when I look back on how was Pokemon Sword and Shield, well, it took like an extra year or two before the game got to where I really wanted it to be, but it did eventually get there. I'd rather have that than them just toss this one aside and move to the next one. So I'm happy with the DLC, and I really like that it looks like they're focusing on open world, which I thought was the best part of Sword and Shield, is the wild area.
Zone.
Yeah. So I want wild area or wild zone, whatever. Yeah, I think it's wild area. And I thought that was the coolest part, and it looks like the DLC is going to be like all that sort of focus. So yeah, I'm excited to see more of that, see what they can do with that going forward.
Yeah, I felt like just going back on, like, I don't want the game to be an empty shell they just cast to the side and say, like, oh, it is what it is, because Mighty Number 9 still hurts to this day.
Yeah.
But, like, X and Y is one of my favorite Pokemons because of the music and the world building, and, like, I had a really good time playing through it, but, like, you beat that game. It's competitive only is basically remaining for you, other than Seeker? What was it called? There was, like, a whole side quest.
With the detective guy? Yeah.
Yeah, I and it wasn't very long, and then there was, like, over. It was competitive or bust for the most part. Like, capture the rest of the Pokemon and, I don't know, twiddle your thumbs. Like,
X and Y. Actually, X and Y was one of my favorite Pokemon experiences. I think it had a lot to do with I was in college at the time. We were working at that retro game store, so I was just around people playing Pokemon all the time, which I think made it really fun, because Pokemon's obviously a very fun social experience. But yeah, I agree. That game had a lot of little things in it that felt like, oh man, are we going to get... It wasn't like, didn't the train like not end up going anywhere? And it looked like maybe there'd be like Southern France eventually or something. And I think there was like... what was it, Zygarde even shows up in Alola, and not, like, they didn't even finish the X, Y, and Z. Like, it just felt like that game should have had more to it, or something added to it, either DLC or that third game, the Z or whatever, and it just never happened, and it's really, really awkward.
Yeah, and I like, again, what I would want more is for Pokemon to go into slower development cycles, because I think that would deliver an experience that would give more of what everyone wants. But
totally.
Fleshing these games out with DLC is, I think, a good thing. And yeah, no, wild area, really. That's, I think, now there isn't enough of it in Sword and Shield, but for their first shot at something like that, I think it's a pretty good attempt. I like the fact that I returned to an area to explore more of it, more dangerous parts of it, places I couldn't originally access, and go and capture Pokemon I didn't know were there, raiding with friends. It's like you have your normal Pokemon experience of checking out caves and looking around corners for secret items and running into Pokemon you haven't seen before. It's like all really, really fun. But then like there's this like your friend just started and they're trying to capture this Pokemon in the wild area, and you just fly your butt over there and you help your friend capture a Pokemon, and like
the wild area
awesome.
Feels like it's like what do I say? Just kind of sticking their toes into the idea of doing open world Pokemon and stuff and what that might be like. The DLC looks like they're going a little deeper, and I hope this is all leading up to some eventual whatever the next Pokemon game is, being like way more focused on full open world, which is what I think a lot of people wanted Sword and Shield to be. So hopefully the DLC is a good test run of going further with that. And I do think, like you said, slowing down the whole development cycle, even if that means doing a game and then doing DLC the next year instead of the Crystal, the Emerald version of the game afterward, I think is probably the right move to slow that cycle down. Just do DLC so we sit with one Pokemon generation a little longer than usual.
Also, people love spin-offs. Like, if they wanted to take 2 years to develop a Pokemon game and then have the B team make, like, Mystery Dungeon or, like, a Snap or something, like, when those side games come out, I get invested because I don't just like my Pokemon the normal way. Actually, if you ask anyone, my favorite kind of Pokemon is Mystery Dungeon. I love those side games. I eat them up. I'm like, man, I get more Pokemon, but in a different format, and I like that. And I think a lot of people do, and I think if I had to wait 2 years for a new mainline game, but there was DLC for the last one, and there's like side games coming out, I would have my fill.
I completely agree, and I actually would say I think the mainline games would benefit from that, because one of the reasons I don't jump in a ton to competitive is because I feel like, well, once I have to put so much investment in IV and EVs and breeding out the right ones and getting the egg moves and everything, like, to make competitive Pokemon. By the time I make my full team, sometimes it's like, this game's only going to be like relevant for another 4 months, and then the next one's coming out, and it's like, okay, well, now the metagame's going to change. I don't even know if I like my team anymore. You know what I mean? Like,
we have Home though.
Right,
that's actually
Home's
a
gonna
big
be different.
game changer. We have Home. Sword and Shield is very nice about moves. Like, you can just go and remember moves.
Right.
It's like, those changes are nice for that. But yeah, no, I feel like all of these things that we've discussed and some of the things they've already implemented, I think we're close to that Pokemon experience we want pretty bad. And not that like Game Freak's faultless, like in like things they do wrong. I think they are one of the slowest transitioning companies in the world. Like, where Nintendo was like, hey, we messed this up, let's go and fix it. Game Freak's very we're gonna stick to the tried and true, even when like their fans are going, hey, can you do something cool with this? I
think the toughest thing with Game Freaks is that, like, where Nintendo will do, like, okay, people wanted more openness after Skyward Sword, for instance. Skyward Sword had, it felt like doing a little dungeon to get into the dungeon, and then you went to another area that was a little dungeon to get into a dungeon. It didn't have the big open world necessarily and stuff, unless you count the sky, but, it really wasn't the same at all. Yeah, so then they went all in with, like, okay, well, what can we do if we go completely open world? And it was Breath of the Wild. It was what the fans wanted, and I think it really, there's some things I want from classic Zelda brought back, but I think Breath of the Wild was a really good experiment for them to go all in on. Game Freak's like exact opposite. They won't do that. They'll just tried and true, and they'll implement some slight changes here and there, and then so often in the next game they take out those slight changes they did last time. So it's like they keep somewhat experimenting, kind of like baby step experimenting, and then they don't even bring them back. So it's like the progress, it never feels like we're really progressing. It always feels like it's just, here's the classic Pokemon thing, and we tried a couple new things, maybe one or two of them you might really like, and they might not even come back next time because we're just going to take the classic Pokemon thing and try a few other things. So I really hope open world Pokemon is where this is headed, and this isn't just, oh, we tried it in Sword and Shield and now we're going something else.
And so here's hoping that they truly are learning, and I think they are. But I'm excited. I honestly, this is a very exciting Pokemon time for me, so I'm very curious what the future has for us. Although, sadly, not to bring up the topic, but with the problems in the world right now with the pandemic, there's probably going to be a lot of delays coming up. And kind of moving into our last topic, Sero, specifically the Japanese rating system, is down for all of April, right?
I believe they're just completely closed this month. Yeah, I don't know if they have an exact, like, we're closed April and opening May, but I believe they have said this month they're totally closed, which means they can't rate any games. So any Japanese games that were going to come out, generally, I think by law, probably have to be rated by them and will not be able to be. And even once they're back open, it may take time for them to play those games, rate those games, go through what's in them. So we may see a real slowdown coming up soon.
Yeah, and so that might also additionally contribute to, like, the ARMS characters taking a little bit. That might delay things. Like, part of the reason we got a mini direct was potentially a lot of the stuff that could have been discussed. Like, maybe they had Metroid footage. Maybe the F-Zero game that one day they'll give me wasn't announced because they, we can't have this rated yet. And Nintendo's seems like the kind of company that wants to at least be starting a lot of those processes and not showing us anything super early.
Nintendo's, yeah, I mean, they're very upfront about stuff. I mean, the whole thing with Metroid Prime 4, like, it was delayed. They told us it was delayed. They told us exactly what's going on with it. Like, they try to be pretty upfront with stuff. So I feel like, if they can't have exact release dates for things right now, they don't want to do that. Like, if that direct was supposed to have a bunch of games, but they can't say for sure that game's going to come out in 2020, they probably just don't even want to talk about it until they can. Yeah, that's what I got anyway.
That's what I'm getting out of it too. And while the game we're about to talk about is something that they probably can soft announce, like, at least, and I would expect them to either this month or next month. I will say that, like, one really interesting thing about Sero being down and game releases from Japan taking a little bit, or even just in general, a lot of games are getting delayed. A lot of indie companies are already prepared to do things like work from home. And a lot of companies like Riot Games, which is independently owned, but I would never call them a small indie company. That's just a meme with them. Riot Games is releasing a bunch of side games and stories, and Valorant, which is nothing to do with League of Legends, Counter-Strike-like, and I'm sure a lot of you have heard that being thrown around. One of the things I find interesting about this situation is, as bad as it is, we're getting a lot of games on the radar that you never would have heard of, either because of a sale or because their dev team can release something. And when you can't be focusing on that big new Nintendo release, or, Animal Crossing came out, what's Nintendo's next big project? And it's just all shoulder shrugs, right? Like,
right.
Something like, hey, have you heard of this game? It's called Invisigun. It just went on the eShop for $1. On sale. It's like, oh, what's that? And it's like dope indie company, or like, oh, what's Slay the Spire, and like, or One Step from Eden. Like, I've never heard of that game. Like, what is this?
That's a good point.
Play that game.
Yeah, I hadn't really been. I'll have to try it. I hadn't really been thinking about that, but you're totally right. I think indie developers, a lot of them, like you said, are working from home anyway. A lot of people are probably just, I usually just make this game on my computer and send it over to everybody else. So I think now's definitely a good time to look at some lesser known games and probably help flourish the, if there's a bright side to major title games being put on hold, it might be that the indie games might get a little bit more focus, or at least the ones that are coming out, people are going to be looking at them more because people are looking for games to play.
Yep, absolutely. And
less competition.
Yeah, less competition, which is going to be good for the indie market, and I think that's really exciting for games. But enough about that. There's a big rumor that was discussed for a while, and the dust is settling a little bit, but it's looking to be very exciting, and it's a Mario 3D collection, or as I have written in our notes, Super Mario All-Stars 2, this supposed 64 Sunshine Galaxy combo pack.
Yeah. So it's just a rumor. So this is just a rumor. I'll just I'll make sure to say that it's just a rumor. We don't know for sure, but it seems like a lot of big people have backed that they've heard this. That this seems to be what we're probably going to get. My guess is it was probably supposed to be announced at E3. I imagine Nintendo will probably still announce it around that time frame, but obviously we're not doing E3 this year. I still expect like a Nintendo Direct in June or something though, with probably that stuff. If not, like Nintendo just doing their own Treehouse Live event. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I imagine we'll get something. Something, yeah. But this is the 35th anniversary of Mario. Supposedly, this 3D. They're supposed to be getting these remasters or remakes or something of Mario 64. Mario Sunshine and Mario Galaxy. I don't know about Galaxy 2, but at least those three. And yeah, at first it was kind of around April Fool's Day, so it was like, is this just going to be an April Fool's joke? But we are far past April Fool's Day now, and it's still kind of going strong. And there's been some other evidence for it too. There was like this T-shirt I think someone found that was like a 35th anniversary Mario T-shirt, and it has a bunch of different Marios on it. And if the games that are rumored do happen, then every single one of the Marios on this 35th anniversary T-shirt would be available on Switch. Because one of the other rumors is Mario 3D World getting some sort of update and going on Switch, like a deluxe port or something, like so many Wii U games got already. So yeah, and this one is, as far as the rumors that I've heard, supposedly a collection. I don't know this for sure. Again, I'm going off of totally other people's rumors and stuff, but supposedly it's 64, Sunshine, Galaxy, kind of like you said, Mario All-Stars 2, a 3D Mario collection game, somehow remastered, updated, something. So yeah, pretty exciting.
It might not necessarily be like All-Stars where they remade Mario with the newer Super Nintendo graphics.
Right. Like, are these going to have Odyssey graphics? Maybe. Are they just going to be HD? Maybe. I have no idea.
I have a feeling it's likely to be... okay, I was about to say, like, anti-aliasing. Nintendo doesn't anti-alias anything. It's going to be, like, HD upscaling of the assets, upscaling of the resolution, supports for proper widescreen, because like Super Mario 64 is a 4x3 game, so they can probably go back to that source code and write in a proper widescreen. You see people do that for things like mods for things like Super Mario 64 and Smash to support proper widescreen on every version of the game.
So Mario 64, actually, because it was such an early N64 game and stuff like that, it doesn't run optimally, the actual 64 cartridge. I know people have gone in and like changed things, and it can actually be sped up. There's certain things in there that look like they were kind of mistakes in the code and stuff like that. So I don't know if they would just give us a straight port of it or what, but it may actually be like cleaned up and play smoother, which might be a whole interesting thing.
I wonder if they're going to just make it play smoother. There's one thing okay, so as a speedrunner, this puts me in a really weird spot. On the one hand, I love clipping through walls in Mario Odyssey. On the other hand, I don't want to homebrew my Switch just to go back to 1.0.
Right.
And I don't mind them patching certain things out because it could hurt the gameplay experience. Even though as a speedrunner, please let me keep going through walls. But 64 has something special in its glitches and bugs and like weird uses of its tech skill. For those of you who don't know, there's a wonderful video you can look up. Watch for rolling rocks and 0.5 A presses or 0.5 A presses.
Yeah,
it's a wonderful TAS, a tool-assisted super player speedrun of Mario where they're pressing the A button as few times as possible, and the A button is held from another part of the run. So they're holding the A button's held to do a little trick in the run, but it's basically there's a glitch in that game. There's no upper bound to moving backwards, so there's a max speed going forward but not backwards. So, and at those of you who are probably smiling right now,
throws you backwards. Yeah, it's crazy.
If you backwards long jump like on an elevator going up as many times as possible into like the wall of the elevator, you will gain so much inertia. You can go through walls, you can clip out of bounds, you do all sorts of crazy stuff. It's really cool. Backwards momentum is faster if you gain enough of it. However, it's in this task they generate speed for a day and a half and travel to parallel universes, and if you don't believe me and you don't know what floating point values are, that video will blow your brain. But the point is that like I want some of that stuff still there. I still want to be able to clip into a wall or like some of the old tricks, but I also would love the frame rate to be increased and like played more optimally. Are they going to optimize it a little bit? Are they going to bug fix some of it? Or are they going to just give us some widescreen support and go to town?
So it's totally up in the air, like what this is going to be like. And I feel like especially with 64, and there is like two ways to look at it. I'm thinking of like when they put, what was it, Pokemon Red and Blue on the 3DS, and it kept all the glitches. Like you could still get Mew and stuff like doing glitches. And
that
has
underflow and like move the menu up and like start editing raw RAM data.
Right, and that has some, there's some definite charm to that. So if it is just like Mario 64 and it's just HD graphic Mario 64 or something like that, cool, that's awesome. But there's the total other possibility that, like they did with the first Mario All-Stars, that they completely make it look like Mario Odyssey or something like that, and it's a totally redone game. They have done that already on the 3DS. Or no, not the 3DS. It was just the original DS. The Super Mario.
Oh, Mario 64. Yeah, which
DS. It was like the first or one of the first DS games. So that game has been touched and updated. Are we going to get Mario 64 DS HD, or are we going to get original Mario 64, or are we going to get
both?
Some?
Like, are they going to be like the kind of devs that are like, hey, would you like to play the original 64 or the enhanced DS version?
Totally possible they could do that. Yeah,
totally. I would like that'd be really cool. And then that's just 64. Like, and so this video doesn't go on forever. Like Sunshine, like Sunshine's got a whole like slew of like cool tricks and bugs and stuff and like memorable moments. And Galaxy is to this day, it's still pretty. That game could just get an HD, like a resolution bump, and it would still look good. And if they actually release a $60 version of all of these games, or they release them all for like 30 or 20 bucks or something,
honestly, I think Sunshine's graphics even hold up. I was watching Cody play that. Dude. Yeah, like 6 months ago or something like that, and like the water and stuff, like it looks really nice. I'm not a huge fan of Sunshine. It's my least favorite of the 3D Marios. I think it has a lot of issues, but I won't get into that here. But as far as like graphics go, I think the graphics actually hold up. I think it looks really nice.
Also, like Sunshine, like even if it's not your favorite Mario, it's still good 3D platforming. Like,
I mean, to say something's not my favorite Mario, it's like saying it's not my favorite Zelda. Like it's a Zelda game. It's a Mario game.
It's a Zelda game. It's great.
Like, it's great.
Yeah. Like, okay. We used to joke about New Super Mario Bros. 2 being incredibly underwhelming, but it's also still a Mario game.
I mean, if there was no other 2D Mario games and that one just existed, it's a great game. It's just that it's kind of forgettable and boring in the wake of all the other Mario games around it.
Yeah. But yeah, if that really comes out, I'm excited. I think, God, catch me on a train in Denver playing Mario 64 on my Switch. Oh, the possibilities are endless.
And if that game does come to Switch and we get Super Mario 3D World, I think we have like most of the main Mario games would be available on the Switch, except for potentially Galaxy 2, though I would love for them to do if they merged Galaxy 1 and Galaxy 2 together into, so it was like Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, and then Galaxy 1 and 2 somehow like together.
Mario 64 and DS or something. I think it's likely we'll just get the vanilla of all three of those games.
That's my guess as well.
I can dream.
While we're speculating on a rumored game anyway, might as well throw
out our wish list. Nintendo.
Throw out the wish list, exactly.
I think that's gonna do. I think we hit every topic.
Yeah, that was everything I think we were thinking about talking about. So yeah, we did everything on our list. Yay. Go us.
Go us. Viewers, I hope you guys enjoyed the chat. I certainly enjoy collabing with PapaGeno whenever I can. So again, if you want to find me, I stream Monday through Friday for the most part, usually in the late afternoon or the afternoon and evenings for the East Coast. I'm Mountain Time, so that's like 2-3 my time. At twitch.tv/x45x. And I'm always there. I'm always doing something. It's a good time. And one final thing before we leave. We're doing you normally put a Discord link in your videos. It's important to note that I think we're going to be doing a lot more events, a lot more like stuff with viewers. I help run that Discord if you're curious why I'm talking about it. So like there'll be like sit-ins where PapaGeno's like chatting with people. We're going to be doing like game nights. We're going to have more tournaments. And maybe not just Smash. Like maybe we'll throw some fun tournaments. Give you guys something. Smash isn't fun. We're gonna give you guys some like Mario Kart tournaments or something interesting. Art contests. Even I know we have one in the works right now.
Yes, we're trying to do a lot more stuff with the Discord. So if you guys want to pop in there, check out what's happening there. We're going to try to be a lot more active with it. So yeah, definitely give that a look, and obviously give a look to x45x's Twitch stream as well. So yeah, leave your comments about any of the stuff we talked about. Arms rep, Pokemon DLC, Pokemon Smash character DLC, first and third party characters. Is there going to be a Rhythm Heaven character? What do you guys think about another Microsoft rep or any character that brings a brand new world? Like, what would you like to see with that? All the stuff we talked about, or this whole Mario rumor. Give us your thoughts on that too. Anything else you want to add?
No, that's it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening.
Yeah, thank you guys for watching. And again, we will be reading the comments below, so leave us something nice. Catch you later, guys. So once again, thank you guys for all the subscribes, all the likes. It really helps out the channel. So if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and do so, or like the video, or leave a comment, whatever you want. Until next time, have a good one.